we got a few news that I want to wrap up. Gonna have a look at the market. Actually, did you know that 2023 is the year where we have seen the largest amount in terms of assets failing when it comes to banks? Now, when we talk about bank failures, we all think about 2008, right? Think about 2008 when we had the global financial banking collapse, crisis. It is actually bigger now in 2023. Now, what impact is that going to have on crypto? Because, you know, there's two narratives, right? We can have one narrative that the crypto market is following the traditional markets, right? Or perhaps what I tend to believe is that we are seeing the future finance being built right in front of our eyes, and is being built, from my point of view, on the blockchain, mainly on Ethereum and other interoperable chains. I do think that we are going to see, most likely, implode of the traditional financial markets like the banks, and then we're going to see the crypto market take off. But we still need to be aware that if and how that can affect the overall scenario, both for the traditionals and the crypto. Anyway, I think we need to get started, and I'm happy you are here. I can see and you can hear me. Very good, very good. So I love you, and let's get this started. It goes a little something like this. I want to welcome you to Crypto Never Sleeps in this special edition while I've been away so long. In case you're new to this channel, you want to stay on top of the crypto world, but then do me a favor, hit like, smash, and subscribe so that you can be notified every time we upload new videos, so that you can, and this is important to me, protect your wealth, preserve your wealth, and ultimately increase your wealth. My name is Nico Harachi, and I am number one. First things first, I'm sure you all missed my little the technical wizard here on YouTube. Anyway, let's first have a look at where we are, and we are right here. We have Bitcoin down 5%, right? 5%. 27,830. Now, in case some of you remember, do you remember? We were last time I remember it was like last week when I was live, last Monday, I think it was. I had this to say. A beautiful day to look at the weekly, with of course the 7-day moving average. This was just another strong week that we closed above the 7-day moving average. Now, I could imagine that we're going to see some pullback. Probably we could go back to somewhere between, I don't know, 27,000 maybe. But remember, I don't think much about short-term trading. But it's always good to keep this as an indication. There we go. I mean, gotta pat myself on the back if nobody else does it, except for Wax. Thank you so much for that message. I will get back on that. No, so what we saw, we did say Bitcoin going back to around 27,000, and we will just look at the Bitcoin chart in a second. I don't think we need to worry as long as we stay above, the 7-day moving average. So we got Ethereum also down 4.10% at 1,800. We got, Cardano at 38 cents now, right? Gone below that 40 cent on the dollar. What was it, 46 last week? And yeah, those beautiful dots, they just need a little bit of time before they're gonna take off. Still optimistic, and then we can see here again, and that's why I do always show these 4 charts, is because they correlate almost 1-to-1. I mean, it's sad, but that gives us a level of knowledge to how the market is being manipulated. Anyway, we need to look at Bitcoin, and I think here we go. I'm here too. So what are we seeing with Bitcoin? Well, it was kinda, I don't know if it was funny. Of course, now we're looking at the weekly, and we are looking at the weekly with the 7-day moving average. Now there are a few things that I think we do need to pay attention to. Let's look here. are we? You can see right now with the 7-day moving average, we are actually below, right? We are below. And yeah, we gotta watch out how the week is gonna close. Gotta give it a few more days. Yeah. You see that the only thing that I really don't like is that the volume that we have had in the last 6 weeks has been very, very low, right? So remember, we got back here into March when we, really had a good candlestick up, lots of volume, but since then it's been lossless, and it's like when there's low. However, on the other side, low volume, we're going sideways. That means there are not a lot of sellers in the market, right? So that means probably the ones like you and I, we are holding on to our assets, crypto assets, waiting for the market to go even higher. Now, we have to watch out how this is gonna end the week. Yeah, and it's also gonna be a monthly, right? But let's see what this week is going to bring us. We all gotta be alert. But in the end of the day, it was pretty. I mean, yeah, I don't think we're gonna go below the 27, but we're always gonna watch out, right? It can be, and with Ethereum, also below the 7-day moving average. Not that the 7-day moving average. It's not that I, it's not that I believe in it like I believe in the Bible, right? But we are below, and so far, but it's only, so far it has been a very good indicator. So yeah, we gotta watch out. We gotta. That's what we gotta look at. Let's just have a look at what the overall watch list from our point of view says. Yeah, Bitcoin down 5. Nobody likes to see these numbers. 5% Bitcoin, 4% Ethereum, 2%. Binance. We got some news there with XRP. XRP has been doing pretty good when it comes to news. Gotta say, my hat's off to to Ripple. What else? Yes, the overall market is down, but there's one maybe interesting thing that we could point out. That is that in the history of, let's say, Bitcoin's bear cycles, once it has never retrieved or gone up 100% from its low, and then in order to retrace lower than the last low. So, does that make sense? So the low we saw of this cycle was around 15,000. So we have never seen in the history of Bitcoin that it would bounce up more than 100% in order to go further down. So I'm still optimistic and bullish. Regarding the day, yeah. And again, it is funny. We can just scroll down here the watch list, and you can see the majority of the coins, they're down somewhere between 3 and maximum 5%, right? And it is just funny that it is almost across the board all the top 300 coins, right? Again, that's where I feel that you're seeing that the market is being manipulated. I wouldn't worry too much about that. We are focused on the future, but now it's time to say hello and see who is there on the littlest crypto channel on the interweb. Wow. 28 people are here. That's almost like, that's a blessing. And who is here? We got Steve Bradshaw. Good to see you. Dennis here. Shahid, my soul brother. Colin McDonald. We got Vex. Vex, I gotta say thank you so much for that kind message that you wrote on Telegram. I thank you, and it makes me happy that you have actually implemented what I try to share here, right? It's hard for me always to say exactly on the day when you should buy or when you should sell, but I really try to share the education so that you on your own can, have to not be scared to enter the market and act against, opposite of what we are actually reading in the mainstream news. Blockchain Betty's here. Sandra, good to see you. Happy that you are here. Persian Empire. I know we got Steve Webb and CryptoGoggy. We got Jazz, Crypto Bell. Even a few new ones. We got Crypto Charlie, and he's old as I am when it comes to this channel. Crypto Stan is here too. I am happy. Thank you for coming, guys. I love you all. And it's not over yet. Crypto Boy is here. Good to see you. Raymond, how are you doing? Good. And always explicit. Also new. Buonasera. Okay, you love Crypto Boy says you love Nova Wallet. Yeah, well, I gotta look on that. Preach on, Nico. Preach on. Yeah, yeah. I'm a preacher. Anyway, let's go in and have a look at some of the news, and then, as I said, I want to go back to. I'm gonna share some private news where I am, but let's. We gotta do what we gotta do. Timing the market, yeah, that is always important. For those of you who, I can see some of you are new. Timing the market is basically what we have been extraordinarily good at here on this channel. Me, Cherry, Betty, and Cherry, Betty, and I forgot one of them. We got one more. Crypto Demon. Anyway, no. So we kind of we've been buying as the market went down, averaging in. Remember, it's also difficult to every day, or almost every day, come out and share. And, when you see the market going down from almost 70,000 all the way, we did predict around 12,000. That was based on, if we look at the Bitcoin's historical corrections, right? We saw we have gone over this many, many times, so I'm not going to bother you with this, but it added up that we could imagine 12,000 Bitcoin by December 2022. As we then only saw 15,000, it was time to get all our coins out of the right pocket and the back pocket, leave some in the left pocket, and start entering the market. And that's also why I'm not certain, but based on historical bull markets, if we look at them, going back all the way to 2010 to 13, from 13 to 17, to 17 to 2021, we have all been in the range around 1,400 days. Which is why I believe that it could, if they all say, the history doesn't rhyme, but it sometimes, history doesn't repeat, but it sometimes rhymes. I hate that saying, but, we got what we got, right? We got the 7-day moving average on the weekly. And if we look at the historical corrections, it was actually spot on. So why not assume that 2025, I am very optimistic about 2025, and I can imagine that we're going to see Bitcoin between 200 and 250,000. But who knows? We still have how many days? 1,200 days. So we got time. So we were looking a little bit at the Wyckoff price cycle. Now, I'm sure all of you have heard about Wyckoff, right? He was a man, from many, many years ago, and he was actually, what he was doing was studying the markets. He was a detailed analysis of supply and demand, which he could then ascertain himself by studying price actions, volume, and time. I'm also not going to go too much into that, but basically the Wyckoff price cycle is a cycle of demand and supply, and how we're being front-run by large investors, whales that will sell high and buy low. So we kind of have to try to understand, and that's what I've always said, the psychology of the market is one of the most important factors when I actually choose to exit the market and enter the market. And that it is all about the psychology. And so I've not always based at all on Wyckoff, but I think that his patterns, there is really something, he's been right for very, very long. So when we look here at the phase A, B, C, D, and E, you will recognize that I believe that we are currently in phase E. And if we look here at, this is the current updated chart, where we can see here that, if I just go back, we can see here's phase A, here's phase B, phase C, D, and E. And we compare that to the accumulation schematic of Wyckoff, you can see that there is a similarity. And I want to go over the phase C, D, and E, but it is quickly. I mean, this is a good confirmation, right? That's what I believe. So in the phase C is where the price goes through a decisive test of the remaining supply, allowing the smart money operators to ascertain whether the price is ready to be marked up. That's what we saw when we were down at around 15,000. So as noted above, a spring is a price move below the support level of the trading range established in phase A and B. So we go back and look at what is phase A and B. The trading range is obviously above the 15,000. So in phase C, we saw that we went below the trading range. So that kind of adds up, right? It is an example of a bear trap because the drop below support appears to signal resumption of the downtrend. However, in reality, through this marks the beginning of a new uptrend, trapping the late sellers. And that's why we always say 90% of people that are new to investing, what is it that they do? They buy high and they sell low. I mean, I remember I did that 20 years ago too. I bought high and I sold low. That was a dumb business. Anyway, I didn't have Betty at that time around, right? So she could have taught me a thing or two. However, in Wyckoff's method, a successful test of supply represented by a spring or a shakeout provides a high probability investment opportunity. A low volume spring or a low volume test of a shakeout indicates that the coin is likely to be ready to move up. So this is a good time to initiate at least a partial long position. This is why that when we were around the 15, we've been entering, it's not on one day, right? It's a phase. But this was about the time when we said, I don't think there's going to be many more opportunities. Now, jumping on to phase E is, in phase E, the price leaves the trading range and demand is in full control and the markup is obvious to everyone. That's what we've seen here recently, right? I mean, we've gone in a short amount of time from 15 to 30,000. Even that we are hovering around the 27,000 it's not making me too worried. And I don't think it should you either. Perhaps that should actually just, as it is described here, setbacks such as shakeouts are usually short-lived. New higher level trading ranges comprising both profit-taking and acquisition of additional coins, reaccumulation by large operators can occur at any point in phase E. These trading ranges are sometimes called stepping stones on the way to even higher price targets. So just again, we look here, you can see this very much, I feel, resemblance what we're seeing here. But who knows? Good old Wyckoff, he could also be wrong. On to the next theme of the day, and that is not particularly the United States Federal Reserve System. It is kind of the Federal Reserve System. I'm sure you're all aware of First Republic Bank, right? So the First Republic Bank just went bankrupt and they got overtaken by JP Morgan. They are set to acquire them and First Republic Bank's assets, and that's how that's gonna work out. You can read all about First Republic banks bankrupt or that they were being sold to JP Morgan. That's not what I want to point out here. Except, of course, that JP Morgan also went in 2008 and saved the day for Bear Stearns, right? Now we all remember 2008, global financial crisis due to the subprime mortgage lenders, or the way that they were constructing the loans. I believe that exactly what we are seeing here is something that we have been talking about a lot on this channel, because what we are seeing now is just a continuation of monopolizing the traditional banking system. I have also mentioned this before, but I think it is important that we go through it. I know if some of you just came to look at some top coins, we will also get to that in a second. But the Federal Reserve in 1913, at that time, the public was told that the Fed was an economic stabilizer and inflation and economic crisis would be a thing of the past. This is going to be told to us shortly with the introduction of the CBDC. History has shown nothing was further from the truth. The fact is, bankers now had a streamlined machine for economic manipulation. By 1900, the US had 10,382 commercial banks, and the number continued growing until it reached 30,000 and a few more in 1921. By 1934, in the aftermath of the banking crisis, the number of banks had fallen to 14,000. Now, by the end of 2017, the number had fallen to below 5,000. And here we can see that, for example, from 1914 to 1919, the Federal Reserve substantially increased the money supply. And money supply results in extending loans to small banks and to the public and to the the corporations that are too big to fail. However, then in 1920, the Federal Reserve deliberately contracted credit in an extreme way, resulting in banks having to call in a large number of loans. And just like in 1907, bank runs, you have to bear that in mind. Bankruptcy and systemic collapse occurred on numerous competitive banks outside of the Federal Reserve System. They collapsed, and further consolidating the monopoly of the big guys. So here we can see, right, that this was from 1837 to 2017. I don't have it updated until 2023, but you can eat your old grandpa's hat that there are less banks than 4,900 and something. So we can see the high of number of banks were 30,000. But that's actually not what we should be looking at. We should be looking at not the number of banks, but in terms of assets. I hope you can recognize this chart here, because this is a brief summary of what we have seen since 2001 all the way through to 2023. Now the green line, I hope you can see that, the green line is the amount of assets that were on the balance sheets of the banks that failed. And the red line is the number of banks. Now we don't have it globally, it's only in the US. But we can see here that in 2008, we had around 100 and not that many actually. We had around 25 banks fail. But then in 2009, it was around 140. And in 2010, it went all the way up to almost 160 banks. Wait, guys, I just need a sip here. But as you can see, and then it went down following in 11, 12, and then basically from 2012 all the way to 2022, it went, not a lot of banks failing and not a lot of assets under, assets under, management or for those banks. So in 2008, the amount of money that the banks that failed were controlling were around 373 billion. Now in 2023, so far, and this chart is also not updated because this chart only shows Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank. It does not take into consideration First Republic nor Silvergate. But if you look at the amount, look at that. So there's only 2 banks, right? Only 2 banks so far. But the assets, the total assets, is 319, only with Silicon Valley and Signature Bank. If we jump on to the next slide, you can see that if you would include First Republic and Silvergate, we would be above 500 billion in total assets based on the amount of bank failures. Now, that's a lot of money, right? And we're not even talking about Credit Suisse in Europe. This is why that this should call for a little bit of worries. We should worry a little bit, right? Because the problem is that we got many other banks, not only in the US, across the globe, that are having similar issues, similar balance sheets. Now, the way that these banks are trying to, let's say, secure clients' deposits, and they can basically not, they're very fragile when it comes to a bank run. So what I think is going to happen is that this is going to have a spillover effect across the globe, where more customers of various banks are going to be worried. I mean, I'm very worried about the banking system. I have not had my money in traditional banks since 2016, right? That effect that people are just going to worry means they're going to be bank runs. And as we know, things go a little bit quicker in today's world than it did in 1920. However, I do believe, or I could imagine, that this is just a step towards introducing the central bank digital currency. You see, I've always said here, I believe that there can be, or there will come a time when I believe that the future of finance is going to look like this. We got the central bank, they're going to launch the CBDC, they're going to distribute and circulate it directly into the people's wallet and to the commercial wallets. And then, we can do whatever we are doing today. However, there's a problem currently, and that is, if we go up here and you see on the top, you can see there's still too many banks in between. We got savings banks, we got credit unions, and they are all going to be obsolete with the new system of the CBDC. You don't need these small, banks around the corner that is going to take care of, giving you a mortgage, or that you can buy some other things on loan or credit. It's obsolete. We don't need it anymore. And that is why I believe that we are seeing this consolidation of the banking system being monopolized. And it's always the bigger ones getting bigger. And that's also why I clearly don't think that this is a question about centralized finance versus decentralized finance. No, I think it's CeFi and DeFi. They're going to work together in the constellation that you see this bank here, the Federal Reserve, is going to use decentralized platforms, and then you, me, and other commercial entities will then be here in the end. As I just showed you, I think this is how it's going to work. And the only question that I have with this is, if we're going, I'm a firm believer that we're going to see the fiat, the global fiat system implode. But and obviously we're also seeing the dollar, right, losing its importance when it comes to against the BRICS and the oil related trades. So how are we going to see this impact? In fact, we gotta watch it. I needed to share this with you guys today, because gotta watch out. We don't know. Still believe that we will see. You see, the current people in power, they will not be able to endorse the blockchain or the CBDC if it's, they need the current system is going to implode, and then we need to look at the CBDC or the blockchain as something that will save the current financial system. So I do think that we're going to see more money come in, and I think we could see a whole where the crypto market is really going to take off, and the TradFi and the stock market, Nasdaq, Dow Jones, is all going to implode. Anyway, that's a lot of thoughts, and let me know what you think. And then let's run over some quick news here, because again, this kind of solidifies or confirms, what we are thinking here, you and I. SWIFT are working to bridge digital islands of CBDCs. SWIFT, right? They're providing messaging standards, for international payments, and they're planning to launch a product in its sandbox for CBDC developers that will enable central bank, commercial banks, or a mix of organizations to develop use cases for CBDCs to work across borders. This is just another giant that that is adapting to the future of finance. Next piece of news here. Visa, well, we know Visa, MasterCard, they're developing Brazilian blockchain-powered CBDC project. So Visa, they have unveiled a new blockchain and central bank digital currency project in Brazil. And per the Brazilian media outlet ALTCOINS, the firm was selected by the Brazilian Central Bank to explore blockchain technology-powered usage for the prototype, the digital real. And the bank is very hopeful of debuting its coin later this year, right? 2025. That's why I'm so sure that quality over quantity. Really believe in these coins that we have on our portfolio for the third cycle. And here for all you Ripple fans and XRP, I mean, Betty, she said to me, you always said Ripple is a shit coin. And I said, Betty, you know, I mean, we do follow, we do share the news. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I'm still not investing into to XRP or Ripple. I don't. But I am actually, of course, I'm happy if also Ripple and XRP is going to expand, because that means it's good for the overall industry. China Bank, which is not really a bank from China, however, a Philippine banking institution has partnered with Qatar National Bank to enable a direct transfer of funds through the Ripple net payment technology from Qatar to the Philippines. And I think that's good news, right? So Ripple, you know, gained access to 3 major banks in Japan. They're working with the central bank of Montenegro, right? The second smallest economy in Europe. But now they're working with Qatar National Bank, which is not the central bank. It's just called so. And China Bank, which is not from China, but it's a Philippine bank. But nevertheless, they are really doing things. So the China Bank Start app for smartphones allows clients to easily start an OKS account with no minimum deposit. So you don't even, not even a cent. and there you go. The only reason why I'm always reluctant with the XRP and Ripple is because it has a market cap around 23 billion, and I just don't see, compared to the competition, if it can really, if the risk reward potential is, for me, too low. Then we got a FTX investor, Temasek. He pours 10 million into algorithmic currency system Array. I don't know anything about Array. You should look it up for yourself. But getting an investment of 10 million is just, again, another sign. So what are they announcing? They're announcing on the May 1st that the raise, it's in the second funding round, which is believed to give the firm a valuation of more than 100 million. And the new Temasek-backed algorithmic currency system aims to provide a more stable, efficient, and scalable asset than traditional cryptocurrencies. Who knows where this is going to take? It is something that we need to look at, but there is so much going on. I like this project. Not that we have invested in it, but I like the idea behind it. So NFT marketplace Blur launches Blend, which is a peer-to-peer lending platform. And it allows buyers to provide collateral for token purchases. So this will allow new buyers, new users to enter the ecosystem who were previously priced out of high-priced collections such as Bored Ape, Yacht Club, and CryptoPunk NFTs. And just so basically what they want to compare it with is that just as home buyers make a down payment on a property and then pay off the mortgage over time, Blur said that Blend will allow collectors to apply the same principles to the NFT markets. They will be able to deposit a percentage of the full price of the NFT and finance the remaining amount. Now, if this is really the way that they are saying, I mean, this is basically the way that we go in and we buy a house, right? In today's world. Everything, I mean, I don't, but many people buy things on credit, right? So you put down a down payment, a smaller percentage, and then you pay it off. Now, what we have seen in the crypto industry so far is that in order to get a loan, you had to over collateralize your position, right? So if you wanted to take out, 1 USDC, you had to put like 1.5 shitcoins in order to get, and that didn't always make sense, right? So here, now we're really seeing traditional, let's say, credit business, lending business coming to crypto. I think this is very interesting. MasterCard, they're launching crypto credential service for cross-border transfers. So with crypto credentials, users can meet define standards for the activity they wish to pursue on Web3 environments. It's important that actually MasterCard are also using the name Web3, right? I always said Web 3.0, but you're not supposed to say that. Web3, only 3, not the .0. The platform will define verification standards and levels and provide the necessary technology to bring more use cases to life. This service will help bring richer information to blockchain transactions through metadata. I'm done with the news. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, there's so much going on, and I mean, this is what I've been preaching for the, I don't know, for the last 2 years, especially the last year. It is time to enter the market. Before we go on, see if there's any questions, we will just have a look at the coins that we added here in 2023. I have often pointed out that when, you know, I got in here and looking at the Bitcoin, I got into the market way back in when was that? In 2016. I don't even know if it goes so all the way there. What I wanted to say, after the high that we saw in 2017 and in the beginning of 18, when basically Bitcoin went from 20,000 down to 3,000, I can tell you at that time I was not very I did not think things were looking so great. And you know, there were hardly any place that you could get information about how blockchain and crypto was developing. And on this chart, it doesn't look so sexy. It also doesn't matter. Now, in 2022, I mean, last year, and 2023, but I think we have already, you know, we're already seeing the reverse of the bear market. I mean, we are getting confirmation upon confirmation upon confirmation upon confirmation that the future of finance is being built on the blockchain. So let me just see if there are any questions here, because there we go. Dennis Van Ryn, he's also here. Matic is way better than ARP. Yeah, I know. You see, that's fun. Let me just see. There's been I could also see some of you guys, you're not 100% on board with Arbitron and did I say arbitrage? Arbitron and optimism. And you know, we hold a lot of positions, and let's just go in and look at that in a minute. I do believe there's the reason why I like them, and I also pointed that out last time, but we are, you know, it's good that we have different opinions. And remember, we have a broad, diversified portfolio. But when we look here, where was it that we look? We look at the market cap and the total value locked in, right? And we can see here, Arbitrum is on number 4 with a market cap of 1.7 billion, but and 2.5 billion in total value locked in. And remember, I always like to look at this number here on the side, which is market cap divided by total volume value locked in. And still, if you look at this number here, if we were to compare Arbitron with Polygon, right, we can see that Arbitrum, they have 2.5 billion in assets, total value volume locked in, compared to Polygon that only has 1.3. However, Polygon has a market cap of 9.1 billion and Arbitrum only 1.7. So, and so if we look at that and you scroll down, and we can see here on optimism, I mean, it's also very similar here with optimism. So I also understand that there is this question regarding, you know, the roll-ups, if it's zero knowledge or if it's optimistic, but so far I think it's good to have a few coins in the potential market leaders, and yeah, and I think the risk reward ratio is not bad, is it now? So let's say, what do you say, Vex? Entering the market further as you speak. That is good, because this looks to me like it is, you know, I mean, not by the dip, but we are pulling back a little. Yeah, we need another dip. Blockchain pool is saying. Shane, what do you say? Good to see you here, and we got Tony. Good to see you, and Matic is where. Yeah, I'll read that. To go well at all, and you bullish on Kusama? Yes, I am very bullish on Kusama and Polkadot. I find it's a little bit. I mean, we also I like to do actually the streams that I do when it comes to Polkadot. I like them the most. It is, however, that if we look at both Polkadot and Kusama, right? Because Kusama is obviously the testnet of Polkadot. There's a lot being done. I mean, in terms of things that are being programmed and then commitments from the underlying protocols and the side chains, a lot is being developed, a lot is going on. But it seems to me, and I think it was also like, no, it was like that in the previous cycle, Polkadot and Kusama, they're gonna, I mean, you and I, we know Polkadot, right? We have a beautiful dot in the right and another nice dot in the left and a few dots in the back pocket. Like Noodle, like, I mean, I love Cross Shadow, right? I mean, there are many good ones. Of course, the big three, you know, a star, Moon River, Moonbeam, and we gotta watch out what's happening with Akala and Karura. They have not been very good. Anyway, now I'm drifting off a little bit. No, but I certainly believe that Polkadot has a lot of potential. Now, I do understand that. I mean, I'm an old fella here, right? I'm an old fella. I've been investing for 20 years, and it wasn't until, when was it? It wasn't until 2015 that I really made enough money that Betty could remember. I own nothing, and I'm pretty happy. And also remember, everything I say and do here is not advice. I don't know shit about crypto. So yeah. So what I'm saying is, you need patience. It is. I mean, we're living in the most interesting times. But I don't need to tell you that. You are here already. You're a lion. You're an eagle. All those idiots that are going to enter the market once we're going to see Bitcoin hitting its previous all-time high, they're never going to make it. Now is the time where you can actually, with smaller amounts of money invested into the market, make huge returns that can make a difference in your life. Anyway, so what do you see? Atul Vai, good to see you. Kusama has too many big whales. That's also true. Yeah, that is true. It's a very, yeah, I mean, the Polkadot ecosystem is still very concentrated, right? Okie dokie. Well, let's just have we need to have, I guess you guys want to look at the third cycle portfolio that I'm trying to share with all of you. Let's have a look at that now. So this is when let me just see if it is, this is not the portfolio. Can hear. So here I call it the third cycle, and you can see with some of them we are, from when we made the video, I wanna nail it down. You can see with Illuvium we're down 41%, Kusama 17%, GameFi 11%, 11% with Polkadot, 22% with Uniswap, 38% with LivePeer. With LivePeer we have to update. That's something not right. Bitcoin 1.38%, Synthetics up 45%, down 6% with Arbitrum. 51% up with Cross Network. Curve up 60. Down with CeLo 4%, down 13% with 1inch. Origin Trail up 18%. Kilt. We like Kilt. It's a good dot. Down 24%. Singularity Net up 120%. 36% up with Red Kite. It's actually funny, we're up with Red Kite 36% and down with GameFi. We bought them at the same time in order to enter the market if we're going to see another wave of initial gaming offering coins. Centrifuge, that's another coin. We need to make a Polkadot update. That is what is Centrifuge doing. They are tokenizing real world assets onto the blockchain. I think that is going to be crazy huge. Discount 14%. Algorand down 11. So you can see here, some of them, the graph has really been the best one until now. But, as we can, should have just mentioned them, so you know which ones that we are here holding in the third cycle. Chromia, the graph, Chili's, Karura, Stella, Insurance, I think it's good. Akala still, but I think there's some problems. We need to understand that. Pocket, we love those in Pocket Network in all pockets. Gala, WeChain, Cross Shadow, all there, reserve rights, and of course, The Verge. Now, these are the ones that I'm trying to, launch this portfolio for the third cycle. Of course, we own, if you follow this channel, Betty owns many other coins that we also believe in, but this is kind of like, where I felt it's a good time. But again, you can see, I mean, now might be, hey, it could also be I'm wrong forever, but I think that in these times, I mean, I actually go in and look at this and every day and I say, wow, I can get Illuvium 41% cheaper than when we originally announced it here. I'm going to average in. And that's what I do. Average in. But you got to have you got to have patience. So UBT, I love, of course, UBT. I love UBT. UBT Unipride. I mean, we've been holding on to Unipride. That's just, a coin that we pick up and average into. I also like, yeah. But there are many, but UBT is good. Okay, guys, that's it. So for those of you who want to hear how I'm personally doing, I'm gonna go over to that here in right after this. So this was everything related to crypto, and for those of you who want to know about my sorry ass life, you just stick around for another, I don't know, 10 seconds. Oi. No, so here we go. Ah, yeah. So to end this beautiful stream here. Well, my private, I know that some of you and getting the private messages or the messages that are directly written to me regarding what's going on. I really thank you for those messages. Now, where am I? I'm fighting to get the right that was, I feel, given to me by God and confirmed by country by being a father. You see, I got 3 beautiful, beautiful children, right? And somehow I have, since 2018, I have been going to the authorities in order to get the courts to help me secure this right as a parent. And here's the funny thing. When I started in 2018, and my right as a father was 50%, right? And the other 50% to the mother. Currently, my right to see my kids has been narrowed down to 2.15%. That comes out to 16 hours per month, 8 days per year. I always thought that the justice system should be just, and I always thought that if you would go to court and you had a legitimate claim to your problem, that justice would be served. Now, out of those 5 times, 3 times they were in Ukraine. Now, as maybe some of you know, right, the mother of my children went to France, and I reported her for kidnapping the children, abduction, and the court there said there's no kidnapping, and they took and they basically told me I only have 8 hours every second weekend, and that's why I have not been able to stream regularly. And now on the 5th of June, it's close now, is where we're going to have the next court date, but it is the Court of Appeal. And so it's just around the corner. On Friday, we submitted the last draft to the court. So that means that all the paperwork has been done, has been submitted. And I can only then hope and wait to be in court there and hope that I will get more than 8 hours a month. It has been very, very hard time. I always like to play those videos in the end about motivation and never quit and never give up, and God damn it, yeah. I mean, if I didn't have you guys, if I didn't have this little channel and your comments and your appreciation, to be quite fair, I mean, it would have been very, very, very tough. Very tough. It is tough, but I don't quit. But I just want to know that having this channel has really been, is the only thing that has given me something to focus on, except living in this misery of not being able to be around your children. And especially when you have loved a person for so many years, the mother, that all of a sudden they lie and they don't want to have anything to do with you. And it's been very, very tough. I don't like so much to share these private things. I mean, in a way I do, but I also feel like, this channel is not for crybabies. But yeah, so just I am pretty certain that after June I will be able to increase the streaming and deliver more quality content. But on the other hand, I also feel that if you have followed this channel, I have been able to share a lot. We have been able to corner the market, and yeah, that's it. And I love especially, I mean, our team of admins. Shahid, you're always there with a nice and sweet comment, and so is Vex, and of course I thank our porn star here. Actually, yes, one of our main also what is it, admins, Ron Jeremy. That's actually just it's not a real Ron Jeremy. Anyway, I love all of you, and yeah, I want to thank you, and I will see you tomorrow. Maybe we'll do some Polkadot or portfolio update, because the next 2 days we are gonna go live, we are gonna stream, and I need to push in all the information that you need for another week. I love you. I thank you for being here, and thank you for your support. Stay strong. That's what you should tell me now. Okay, take care, guys. See you tomorrow.